The beast's deadly wound was healed. Revelation 13, verse 3, explained. Revelation 13, verse 3. And I saw one of his heads, as if it had been mortally wounded, and his deadly wound was healed. And all the world marveled and followed the beast. Many theologians and preachers have given erroneous explanations and sermons on Revelation 13, verse 3, presenting an incorrect prophecy interpretation based on an out-of-context reading and explanation of the passage.
This coming world leader is also going to survive some kind of an assassination attempt. The Bible talks about the fact that he will be wounded, but he will survive this. And so this will cause many to worship him outright.
It cannot be that the world leader, the anti-Messiah, Antichrist, is the beast spoken of in Revelation 13, verse 3, who is mortally wounded, and his deadly wound was healed. Revelation 13, verse 3 says nothing about an assassination attempt on a man, but rather a mortal wound that was inflicted to one of the beast's many heads, and the deadly wound was healed. Some say that Satan will miraculously heal the deadly wound that the anti-Messiah, Antichrist, receives. Satan comes to steal, kill, and destroy, not to heal. Satan would not and could not heal the anti-Messiah, Antichrist, if he received a deadly wound. Yeshua, Jesus, heals, and he comes so that we can have life and have it more abundantly. John 10, verse 10. The beast spoken of in Revelation 13, verse 3, has many heads, one of which is mortally wounded, but the beast heals from the deadly wound. The anti-Messiah, Antichrist, is a human being, and human beings have only one head. The beast spoken of in Revelation 13, verse 1 through 4, is not the anti-Messiah, Antichrist. There are 3 different beasts spoken of in Revelation chapter 13. These beasts are Nato, the New World Order that becomes the European Union final Roman Empire after the destruction of one of its head nations, the United States of America, Satan, and the anti-Messiah, Antichrist. Revelation 13, verse 1 through 4, and 11 through 12, New King James Version, with interpretation. Then I stood on the sand of the sea, and I saw a beast, empire, rising up out of the sea, of nations, having 7 heads, 7 manifestations of the Roman Empire, the 7th being the European Union, final Roman Empire, and 10 horns, 10 monarch nations within the European Union, and on its heads 10 crowns, worn by 10 monarchs within the European Union, and on his heads a blasphemous name, Vicarius Filii Dei, Latin for Vicar of the Son of God, the inscription written in the Catholic Pope's crown, who sits on the beast, European Union, final Roman Empire. Revelation 17, verse 3. Now the beast, empire, I saw was like a leopard, Germany. His feet were like the feet of a bear, Eastern Europe, former Russian, Soviet Union, Communist bloc countries. And his mouth like the mouth of a lion, Great Britain. The dragon, Satan, gave him, anti-Messiah, Antichrist, his power, his throne, and great authority through the European Union, final Roman Empire. And I saw one of his heads, one nation of the Nato, New World Order Empire, America, Babylon the Great, destroyed, Revelation 18, as if it, the NATO, USA European Alliance Empire, had been mortally wounded, after the USA was destroyed, and his, the European Union, final Roman Empire's, deadly wound to the military strength of its empire was healed, as the European Union, final Roman Empire, will swiftly militarize after the destruction of the United States of America and establish itself as the world's dominant superpower. And the world marveled and followed the beast, European Union, final Roman Empire. So they, people of the world, worshiped the dragon, Satan, who gave authority to the beast, anti-Messiah, Antichrist, through the European Union, final Roman Empire. And they, people of the world, worshiped the beast, anti-Messiah, Antichrist, saying, "Who is like the beast, anti-Messiah, Antichrist? Who is able to make war with him, the anti-Messiah, Antichrist, and the European Union, final Roman Empire?" Then I saw another beast, the anti-Messiah, Antichrist, coming up, politically rising, out of the earth, and he, the anti-Messiah, Antichrist, had 2 horns like a lamb and spoke like a dragon. And he, the anti-Messiah, Antichrist, exercises all authority of the first beast, European Union, final Roman Empire, in his presence, and causes the earth and those who dwell in it to worship the first beast, European Union, final Roman Empire, whose deadly wound to the military strength of its empire was healed. Revelation 13, verse 3, proclaims that the beast receives a deadly wound to one of its heads. This rules out the possibility that the beast spoken of in Revelation 13, verse 3, is the anti-Messiah, Antichrist, as the anti-Messiah, Antichrist, is a human being with only one head. A mortal wound is defined as an injury that will ultimately lead to death. One of the head nations of the beast will receive a mortal wound. That particular nation, America, Babylon the Great, will die and will not recover from the mortal wound that it receives. But the beast, the European Union, final Roman Empire, will recover from the deadly wound to its empire that it receives. The beast of Revelation 13, verse 1 through 4, has components of a leopard, Germany, a bear, Eastern Europe, former Russian Soviet bloc countries, and a lion, Great Britain. The leopard is a secondary national symbol of Germany, after the eagle, but it more aptly represents Germany. Germany has manufactured Leopard tanks since 1965 to the present. Germany, after suffering a nation-crippling defeat in World War I, used its industrial might to swiftly militarize and then conquered Europe a mere 2 decades later. Germany invented the military tactic known as Blitzkrieg. Germany certainly knows how to pounce like a leopard. The bear is the national symbol of Russia. Russia itself will not be part of the European Union, final Roman Empire, but Eastern Europe, former Russian Soviet bloc countries, will be. These countries have the feet of a bear, Revelation 13, verse 2, which indicates that they walk like the bear, Russia, politically. The lion is the national symbol of Great Britain and also is the state symbols of England and Scotland within Great Britain. The lion remains part of the multi-headed beast of Revelation 13, which indicates that Brexit will ultimately fail and Great Britain will be part of the European Union, final Roman Empire, in the last days. NATO, the New World Order, is the alliance of the United States and Western Europe. The United States is one of the heads of the Beast Empire, NATO, the New World Order. The NATO New World Order empire will receive a mortal wound to one of its head nations, the United States of America, which will be destroyed by nuclear annihilation. Revelation 18. The destruction of the United States will be a mortal wound to NATO, the New World Order. But the European Union, final Roman Empire, will recover and emerge from this deadly wound to its empire, revive, and become the world's most dominant superpower. Revelation 13, verse 3, also declares that the world marveled and followed the beast. Can the world really marvel and follow the European Union, final Roman Empire? Sure. During the 20th century and into the 21st century, the world marveled and followed after the United States of America. The USA was the victor in 2 world wars, was instrumental in the Industrial Revolution, as well as countless innovations for the world, was first in flight and put a man on the moon, and led the world into the information age. The world does marvel at the United States, and when the United States is destroyed, the world will also marvel at it, when they see the smoke of her burning, saying, "What is like this great city?" Revelation 18, verse 18. Revelation 13:11 says that another beast, the anti-Messiah Antichrist, will cause the world to worship the first beast, the European Union, final Roman Empire, in his presence. This worship will likely be done by some type of world tax that will go to the European Union and will later be accomplished through the mark of the beast that the anti-Messiah, Antichrist, will impose on the people of the world. Revelation 13, verse 16 through 18.